I felt pretty good in my race and I had a lot of fun. And, for the prelim of the 100 free, I did the same thing. And the semifinal, and that's when I kind of knew, like, oh, I might be onto something here. I'm having a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got the full crew. Dr. John Mullen, still probably a little hungover from Vegas. Luke Paddington, kind of post afterglow from Worlds. Now he's starting to get sore again. And Jack Alexy coming up more recently off of his World Championship experience. What's up, dude? How are you, man?
Hey guys, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm pretty good. First question is, what's the first thing that you would play on that guitar behind you?
It's a good question. Probably Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, or Nutshell by Alice in Chains.
All right. Hey, there you go. That sounds good. Dude, good to see you, man. We ask our audience at Social Kick Swim on Instagram and YouTube for questions, and we'll start off with a few of those because we got a pile of those for you, and these can go in any order or shape. So let's see. This one's from Jack.Culp, who wanted to know, how does it feel that Chatham's beaten Delbarton every year since you left?
Yeah, definitely keep up with that. So for those that don't know, Delbarton's where I went to high school. And I'm assuming he's talking about the Delbarton swim team, but all I can say is that I talked to the coach there, Coach Savage, quite frequently, and they got a great squad for this year for that meet coming up. So yeah.
I follow the triathlon world fairly closely, and so I know who Morgan Pearson is. And then when I was just reading some stuff up about this, I saw that you guys had both made the Olympic team. I thought about how rare that is that two people from the same high school make the Olympic team. You guys weren't there at the same time, though, right? Like he was several years older.
Yeah, he was a few years older than I was. I haven't actually got the chance to meet him. We were trying to meet up in Paris. And just have a quick chat and take a few pictures for the school, but didn't work out. But definitely look forward to meeting him, and I follow along with his journey and what he's doing. But very cool that we both came from the same high school.
That's cool. I'm gonna say no to somebody who's at my doorbell right now. I have no idea what the deal is with that. So sorry for a doorbell. This one is from Logan Edge 80. Wants to know, what do you do for fun in your free time, my dude? Pink Floyd songs.
Yeah. Yeah. So guitar is a big one of them. It's a lot of, I live in a pretty cool area of California. Like Northern California is beautiful. So I love going outside. It's great hiking trails around beaches. So just hanging outside. I am kind of in this weird transition period of like a professional swimmer. And like this week was our first week back of training. So it was kind of strange being the older guy on the team amongst a team that has a lot of underclassmen. So it's kind of weird being in that environment for now. But I still live in the same house with my best friends. My brother lives here with me now, so that's cool. So I love just hanging out with those guys still. My girlfriend, she lives in San Francisco. So it's a quick 30-minute drive away. So I've been hanging out a lot more in the city now, which is very cool to explore. But yeah, I like being outside, exploring new things. I like reading, playing guitar, hanging out with friends.
Nice, man.
Hell yeah. Sorry, I'm motioning to the guy who's like trying to either plant wire in my yard or maybe also do something related to the water. I'm not sure. So we'll find out. All right. And then this was from Max Carter 845, wanted to know, what are the biggest improvements you made to get to this level? And that sounds broad, dude. It could be wherever.
Yeah, we could talk about that for the next 55 minutes. But.
Yeah, sure. Hey, we got time. Go ahead. I mean, if you had to summarize it, gosh, you're at this level where like as a professional, you know yourself really well, but sometimes it's hard when you're so close to it to be able to say, oh yeah, I am a lot better at these things than I used to be. You're so focused on how do you get from where you are currently to the next thing on a season basis and a race by race basis. But if you were to like macro zoom out, it's probably not a thought exercise. You think about that often, right? Like I don't.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I think it's like, since it's a whole journey, and I plan to be swimming at least until 2028. If I'm still loving the sport and I have some success, I would love to continue further past that. And I'm sure if that happens, I would love to keep progressing and learning as I go. But I think going from, an age group swimmer to a high school swimmer to a college swimmer, and now professional swimmer, I think the biggest change, like, when you're an age group swimmer and a high school swimmer, you're kind of just doing what the coach tells you what to do. It's, you're there having fun with your friends, you're practicing, but it's not it's not the center of your life. Swimming wasn't the center of my life, and for a while, and there has to be like a balance between that. As a high school kid, you have a lot of things going on. And as I kind of knew that I got older and I was thinking about college, and I knew that I wanted to swim in college, so I took it more seriously. And then I just got better and better. And I was very fortunate to get recruited by a lot of great schools and landed a position at Cal my freshman year. And that's kind of the big, another big transition that I had to go through was just adapting to, college training, the school here, the social life, all different things. And for that first year, my freshman year, a lot of inconsistencies in my training, my day-to-day just wasn't like the best, wasn't the most efficient schedule, and just wasn't the best at time management. But that's one of the best ways to learn is through failing. So just that year was just a lot of, adapting to everything. And I thought that I was doing everything that I could, in the water and in the classroom, and, putting 100% into everything. And looking back on it, I was just kind of telling myself that to put my mind at ease. And that sophomore year, my freshman year, I made NCAAs. I didn't score any points there. And then in the summer, I didn't have any great swims. I had about a second and a half of my 100 free from high school. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, something needs to change. Whether it's I lost 40 pounds over that summer. I came back
this
to
is
training.
Pre-Ozempic. How'd you do that without Ozempic?
No kidding, man.
Yeah, so it might have been a little longer than that, those summer months, but I know at April, middle of April, I was 240 pounds, and that was the biggest or the heaviest I've been. And I came in the freshman year around 215, so definitely a few pounds throughout that freshman year.
Well, wait, we did have a question. Somebody asking about which is the best pizza spot in Berkeley, Cheeseboard, Silver, or Jupiter. Jolly Hall wanted to know that. So did you get to understand those pretty well your freshman year?
Yeah, actually. So yeah, Cheeseboard's probably the best. Then there's this good place called Artichokes, and then I'd say Jupiter is next. Sliver is not my favorite, but I actually went to Jupiter last night with my brother. It was his 21st birthday, so I took him there.
There you go. Off season. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so just a lot of different changes. And then I came back pretty angry with myself and just unsatisfied with the past 12 months of my swimming. And I was just training super hard, and every practice that I went to, I was just doing everything that I could to get better. And a lot of it was mental for me, just being more intentional about every single, lap, whether it's a drill or just doing warm up or a main set, just being very intentional. And, that season I experienced a lot of progress, and I was just having a lot more fun, and my whole life was just more balanced. And then I had a great year, and made the national team, made the world team, had a great worlds in Japan. And then after that, I was definitely very excited and positive, and felt like this is kind of where I wanted to be, especially going into an Olympic year. And that whole year, it was just that Olympic year, the whole goal was to make the Olympic team and win, the Olympic gold medal. And specifically the 100 freestyle. So that was my goal, and I did everything that I could to do that. And I think I took kind of an unhealthy approach with that. I think that I just became too invested into obsessed with that goal. And throughout the year, there's a lot of things going on. There's NC2As to worry about. There's different meets to worry about, which helped to kind of distract me from the Olympics and Olympic trials. But then the days and weeks leading up to Olympic trials, it's just every day. It's kind of like, all right, in 30 days or 31 days, you're either going to make the Olympic team or you're not going to make the Olympic team.
Yeah.
And so that whole experience was pretty wild, just to go through the different emotions of trying to stay calm, but also do something incredible. And even that's after I made the Olympic team, I was very grateful and very excited for the Olympics. And I think I was just putting way too much pressure on myself. When you're thinking of a specific, moment 12 months in advance, and you're thinking about it, mostly every day, like a lot of times it's multiple times throughout that day. It just, it gets on you. It's like a weight on your shoulders, and I think I was just too overwhelmed with that side of things. And I was putting too much pressure on myself.
Totally.
So recently that's the biggest change that I've made, is to just have a more balanced kind of approach to swimming and having more fun with it. I think that just remembering why I started swimming in the first place and why I love the sport. And, before nationals this summer and before Worlds, I had a pretty calm mindset. I was just trying to remember why I love to race and why I love to compete. And it worked out pretty well for me. I had the most fun I've ever had at swim meets this summer. And I'm really grateful for where I'm at right now. I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I want to get a concrete example of that right now, Jack, of this question. And it's not very often I'm going to get to be part of this trio of analogies. So 2 weeks ago today, I swam the 50th free at World Masters in Singapore. And I trained, that was my goal, to try and get a medal, and it was hardcore. And then I came back and I was like, my goal was achieved. I did nothing for a week, reset. And now I'm like, what's my new goal? What's my new training? Where am I going next? How am I going to reset? But I took that week off to do nothing at all, just rest and deal with people ask me why the hell my arms are so shaven, right? Like it's weird questions. A week ago, and this question has come from the kid who won the 50th free at World Juniors in 2175, Nikita Sherman. He just wrote a message, and it's a similar question. And you swam your 50th free almost 4 weeks ago, okay? Which is your bronze. So Nikita Sherman says, are there or were moments when a reboot is necessary, both physically and mentally? You talked about that then, but what are you doing now? What are you doing as you go in this transition to being your pro swimmer? Where are you right now, 3 weeks after coming back from Singapore? And how are you feeling? How are you setting new goals? What advice you have for me to keep training and keep motivated? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really interesting how like the flow of like a swim, like a season typically goes for an elite swimmer. You train.
And a master swimmer, please.
And master swimmer.
Hey, what do you qualify as pro? You could be pro, Luke.
There you go. Yeah.
Do you have to make money?
I was paid to go. So there we go.
There you go. But yeah, it's just really unique, like a unique process compared to other sports.
Yeah.
And after 10 months of training and competing basically nonstop, you definitely need to take some time to let your body and mind relax, so that the next go around you don't get to your end of the season meet and you're not burnt out, because you didn't take a break. So right now after Singapore, I went to Hawaii with my girlfriend for about a week. Went back to California for a few days, went back to New Jersey for about a week, and I got back to California about 4 or 5 days ago. And so that whole time, it's what today's July, or today's August 28th. So it's a little over a month since competition started. We just got back in the water on Monday, and this week's very kind of relaxed, just getting back into it. It took about 2.5, 3 weeks off. I was in the water a little bit, like in the ocean and stuff, and at my pool back home, but just having fun, like no intense practices or anything, just, enjoying myself. And right now for me, it really helps when when I'm getting back into the season, it helps when I have a meet that I'm working towards. It's kind of like a wake up call. Last year, what really helped, it was like a similar process. I took about a month off from swimming after Paris, and I had that Budapest Stroke Course Meter Worlds to kind of have it on the radar and say, okay, in 3 months you have to be ready to, at a world stage. You have to be ready to race against the fastest guys in the world. So that kind of helped me, stay disciplined and stay, with training and really helped me get back into it. And this year, that for me, that's the World Cup stops coming up, in a few months. So that's kind of what I'm working towards next. I'm really excited for that. It's my first time going to that event, and racing short course meters again will be a lot of fun. And yeah, right now, like we're going through a lot of technique stuff, a lot of kicking, building good habits right now in the beginning of your training block, so that hopefully they transition over throughout the rest of the season and the habits kind of build on each other. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
You mentioned having fun again, and I think that is how I would describe watching you at Worlds. And obviously you had a good meet at Worlds, but you didn't win every event, or not everything went exactly how you went. But just seeing your reaction, sticking your tongue out, having a good time was, I think, more personality than I remember seeing you at previous meets.
Yeah.
So when you're at a meet and, you're starting to tell that you're too focused or taking it too serious, did you have any new tips or tricks or things you were using just to stay in the moment and remember just to have fun?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's like a weird thing. I think it's a combination of two things. I think in the days leading up to the meet, actually, I'll take a step further back. So like at the beginning of the season, or, a few months out of a big meet, you want to have a goal in mind. It could be a time, or you want to win, or you want to make a podium, Yeah. So you have this goal in mind, and that goal, it can be healthy to think about that from time to time, like make sure you're on track. But then if you become, like, as I was talking about earlier, if you get too overwhelmed or too overconsumed by this goal, you start thinking in ways like, okay, what do I need to, like, if I eat this instead of this, is it gonna help me achieve my goal? Like
it's too tense right there.
It's too much, too complicated, it's too intense. So in the weeks leading up to the meet, that can kind of shift back over to your more relaxed state, just being, okay, I know how to prepare for a meet. I know that 4 or 5 days out from a meet, I'm going to be feeling anxious, nervous. I'm going to have some uncertainty in my mind. I might not feel the best in the water. And every single kind of big meet that I've had in the past 4 years, that I've went through all those emotions and processes. So I know that's happening. I know it's going to come. So I just try to acknowledge those emotions and let them pass. Because I don't think it's possible to kind of just shut that down and push them at the back of your mind, because they're going to come. A week before the meet, a day before your race, like, a minute before your race, they're going to come. So I was just in a more relaxed state kind of this year. And I remember writing in my journal, before the meet, just, remember why you love swimming, why, like, and I listed out the reasons why. And it was like being around friends, trying to go as fast as possible, enjoying the crowd, like things like that. And the first day of the meet was the 400 freestyle relay. And someone that helped me out a lot at this meet was Noe Shoeless. And he is a coach here at Cal. He primarily coaches a distance crew. So I don't work with him a ton, but he's been with us for 2 years now, and he's been absolutely phenomenal in what he's been able to do, because he's a very young guy, but he's very enthusiastic and passionate about coaching and helping athletes get better. But he's also a pretty chill, goofy guy. So he likes joking around and keeping it relaxed. So that, just having him on deck, obviously helping me out with warm-ups and my warm downs, but just being like a familiar face on deck, that he's just going to be like a couple minutes before my race, he can come up to me and he can crack some jokes. So having him there was really beneficial. And I don't know why I just like in the ready room, like that first race, I was just trying to just have some fun and just stay relaxed. And, throughout the meet, I was making some faces in the cameras. Like in the ready room, they have like cameras in the back that record, the people before they walk out. And I noticed them, and I was just like looking like goofy in the cameras and just like smiling more and staying loose and having fun. And
trying not to Phelps face it.
Yeah, no, exactly. In the past, like in the past, like even in Japan and in Paris, I was never one to talk in the ready room. I was very like silent, like kind of like tunnel vision, like blinders are on, like try to stay in my own kind of headspace. And I think what happened is for the 10 minutes you're waiting there, you're kind of sitting there. You're kind of locked in your process, but then I think my body just got way too tense. And, when that's your 10 minutes before your race and you're walking out your block and your body's all tensed up because you're so locked in and you're so dialed in, and that's how you're going to race. You're going to race like that. You're going to race tensed up, might not be fully relaxed and comfortable. So in that 4 free relay, I kind of tried just smiling and just talking to some people, and I felt pretty good in my race and had a lot of fun. And for the prelim of the 100 free, I did the same thing, and the semifinal, and that's when I kind of knew like, oh, I might be onto something here. I'm having a lot of fun too. And it's just been able to kind of allow me to have more fun with what I'm doing. And just enjoy the moment and appreciate the moments more. And I found it really cool, just the kind of transition from me being super intense to just kind of relaxing more and having more fun.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned this on the last show, Brian and Jamie Jack, and it's very difficult to do what you are saying, Jack. I'm an old man. I've swum tons of races. I just swam at the World Masters. Who give a shit, honestly? It's a Masters meet. They have to have fun. But I was so nervous, so tensed up. And then the more you think about, I need to relax, Brian, we talked about this. I need to breathe and relax. Then your mind goes, wait a second, why? Because I need to get sleep. Oh my God, I have a race tomorrow. Or I'm in the ready room. I'm like, this is where Jack Alexy was getting ready for his 50th free. This is cool. Oh my God, holy shit. And then you try to focus to relax, but the deep down subconscious still raises your blood, still raises your heart a little bit. But when I truly did not give a shit about the race, like the outcome of the race, I should say. I just wanted to race it, the 50 breaststroke. When I truly didn't care what time I did deep down inside, because I'm not about it, that's a long story, but I truly, I was comfortable with myself what time I touched. I was doing what you said, clapping, waving, doing selfies, just really, truly, honestly.
Who are you waving to?
Relax. I was waving to my fans, dude.
I'm going to start a tally or like a clock or a ticker. Every time you mention Masters Worlds, Luke, we're going to keep a tally going. No. I feel like we're going to get at 10 an episode for the next 6 months.
We have to deal with all the time.
Why do we still get nervous? Why do you still get nervous at a Masters meet? Why do you still get nervous at a Cabana Club meet? Why would I get nervous at these meets? And how could we truly embody what you say, Jack? Like, is it therapy? Is it going to lots of meets and just getting more and more experience? Like, what would you give advice to that teenage kid who doesn't sleep at night?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is experience and repetitions and being able to practice reps in your practice, but also under more pressure in those higher pressure moments. Because honestly, like I wasn't planning on. It was me like smiling and making faces. That was kind of spur of the moment, like in the ready room and everything. And then I liked it. I enjoyed doing it, and it helped my races. And so just something I tried to do. It wasn't like a preset thing I was gonna try out. But I tried it and I liked it. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, Luke, about just this balance, this balance you have to have between, not caring about your time or your race, but also realizing that there is a lot of importance there. There is some balance there, and I don't know there's no way to I can't really put that in the words on how to get there and how to reach there. But I'm just trying to explain how I found that for myself. And I'm sure there'll be meets and races in the future where, I do all that stuff and race goes well. And there'll be times where I do that stuff and race. I have like one of the worst races of the meets or the season, so there is a balance there. And I guess just having more reps under your belt and trying out new things will help you kind of find what works for you. I guess that's the best advice I have for that. But it is hard. It is a lot easier than said.
More Roops, Luke. More than one meet every decade.
Every 3 decades.
I have an idea of what I think might help with it, and it might be that going 46 is a pretty good feeling.
That helps out. Got to help out.
I think going 46 with some regularity after you've been knocking on the door for it for a while, and then you break an American record, you're like, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, in Indianapolis, when I first broke 47, I was like super surprised. Didn't feel like I was going 46. Didn't hurt like a lot or anything. It was just prelim swim, just kind of relaxed, and honestly very similar to my prelim swim at Olympic trials when I was 47.0. And then I really wanted to go faster at night because I know people like talk about how I add from prelims to finals and all that stuff, but
not us, dude.
Really,
that's other people.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really happy with how I performed at nationals and got the job done there. And yeah, as you said, like when I went 46.8 in the semifinals and I broke the record, like that was just amazing. I felt that was like a great swim, great competition with David, and after that, I was like, okay, like this is like, I can do this now. And I kind of figured out how to swim that race. And a lot of what we talked about in like the past, a lot of what we talked about in the transition from last year to this year has been very mental, but specifically in the 100 race, I kind of figured out my race strategy in Singapore. And I was talking to Noah, and David Marsh was out there with the Israeli team, who's also a coach at Cal. I was talking to them after the 100 or the 400 freestyle relay when I was 47.2, and they both said that it looked like my first 50 was really good, like really long and efficient, and then it looked like I changed my stroke on the second 50. And then Dave Durden, also like the head coach here at Cal, he texted me the same thing. So he actually said, like, he texted that to me, and he says to me also, Noah, he said, like, he doesn't even appreciate how fast he's going. Like, that's like their quote. And that was my reaction. Like Noah told me that after the 400 freestyle relay, I just started laughing.
What, it's not good enough for you?
Yeah. Come on.
You're too good for the speed?
No, but it's like, but that, like, that mentality, or that, like, just that, that, the fact that all three of my coaches, they separately had this observation, but then it all kind of came in sync, which is really, really nice. And it's like, okay, well, they're probably right. And I probably should, think about it and try to fix something, which is normally something I wouldn't try to do, during a big competition like that. But I just tried to stay more relaxed on the second 50. And I think that allowed me to conserve more energy on the third 25. So then my last 25, I have that, that energy left to have a strong finish and finish well. And I think that showed, like, you can see the difference from past races before that. And then you look at that semifinal swim, that final swim, and then the relay lead off with a mixed free relay. Like, I don't know, like, maybe it's just me because I know my stroke, but I can see it being more relaxed. And it's even a slower tempo than what I've usually been on. After each race, I get like a whole kind of document of race statistics, and it's your time to 15, your time to 35, time to 50, your race tempo, how many strokes you've taken. And very interesting to analyze that because my fastest time, the 46.8, it was the slowest tempo, the least amount of strokes. So it's pretty interesting to see that. And then, when I was 47.9 last year, I was way more strokes, way faster tempo. So I think it's a combination of being more relaxed before the race, staying more loose, staying calm before the race, and having more fun, and also trusting your training, being more relaxed on the third 25 and not in this mindset of, I have to go. Mm-hmm. Just being more relaxed, trusting yourself. And then, when 15 meters comes, that's when you can go because you're not going to die out. 15 meters left in the race. You really push it. So that's really something that I've really happy about. I'm really happy about that because now I'm excited for the future and I can apply that again in races, and I'm really excited. So, and the race also doesn't hurt as much too, which is fun.
Way better.
Yeah.
You kind of answered my question, but I want to twist it a bit. So we asked Jordan Crooks on the show, dude, how do you swim 17 for 50 free? Like, what do you do to swim 17? He's done it so many times. And there are two reasons why you go 46. And I'll tell you the two reasons. One is when you first appeared in a show a year and a half ago, you weren't an Olympian, you weren't a gold medalist, you weren't a world record holder, and you had never gone 46. So obviously the first reason
Luke wants some credit.
Yeah, he'll tell you.
Right? And you just explained how you swim a race to make sure you can feel good at the end and finish in 46 with your tempo and your relaxation. But how do you train for that? It's one thing to say it, but what kind of training are you doing to keep your tempo down, to not rush it, to have that power, to maintain your speed, to have that calm under pressure when somebody's shooting out in a 22 feet and you're like, holy shit, I'm in trouble. How are you training to prepare yourself to execute what you just described?
I think that the 200 free training has helped me a lot. Last year, I wasn't training a whole lot of 200 free. I just tried swimming it in a dual meet for Cal, and I went a fast time and figured I'd score more points there. So I just chose to swim it in NC2As, but I didn't really train for it up till then. And this year I trained a lot for the 200, as well as the 150, of course, but the 200 training is really about efficiency and just staying long. And the 200 tempo or the 200 free tempo in your short course race and my short course race is very similar to the 100 freestyle tempo long course. Like it's a very similar race, and the time is different, obviously, and the distance is a little different, but the stroke count is kind of similar, more similar than you think. So I think the 200 free training translates well over to the 100 free long course.
Yeah.
I also think specifically after NC2As this year, did a lot of long course training and a lot of sets where we would definitely, have sets that are built to tire you out and, lactic acid buildup throughout the set so that you basically can't move. And that's basically starting off at back end, like 100% back end pace, like as fast as you can go with 100 breathing for 50s on pretty short rest, but your body can build up some lactic acid and practice that under fatigue. Some sets that would descend down. So you would descend, you'd start at, 26 for a couple 50s, then go down to 25, 24, then 23. And I loved the sets that would be in that, 26, 25 range, where for me, that going 26 and 25 for push 50 now is pretty easy. And I'm not just saying that to like gloat or anything, but I can go that with a really relaxed tempo, really relaxed kick. And I think that training specifically has helped me kind of revert to that sort of stroke on the second 50. Because that's
makes sense.
Yeah. That's the best way I can kind of describe it. So it's been really cool to discover that and apply that to my races.
I always liked doing that back end 50 stuff, but in my day, the number stopped at 24 because I didn't have 23 from a push. Skills.
Yeah.
Let's slide it back a second. And it was like 27, 26, 25, and then 24 was taking pretty much everything I had.
I saw you in your watch.
Well, 23 is like, I mean, it's obviously the new norm in the elite field, right? That's how you have to be talking and thinking and training. Like, would you guys start going as fast as you can get? Well, not the progression ones, but you said you do it in two different ways. Sometimes you do it with a build, and then sometimes you would do it like, okay, like go and see how many I can hold. Like, what does that look like for you? Can you start out at 23s, and are you kind of done with that after two, and the second one hurts a lot, and then it's like puking your guts out after?
Yeah. So most of these sets, the descending ones and the straight up, like start out going really fast. Both of those sets, they start out with the whole structure of the set. It's 20-50s, usually in sets of 4, so 5 rounds of 4, and the first one would be like skull / like drill setup.
Okay.
The next one would be like at back end pace, like so as fast as possible. Actually, there's two different things. Back end speed is trying to be efficient but trying to go fast as possible with breathing is just hauling and going as fast as you can. So some would be, trying to be efficient back end speed time. Others would be, as fast as possible with breathing. So if you start off as fast as possible with breathing, like, yeah, I could definitely start off, going 23 mids, and then the third one would be easy. Fourth one, same back end, fast as possible. And then, some like 100 easy. So in that whole round 5 times. Some of the descending ones, it would start out like the first round, would be drill, skull setup, then start out like 26 easy, another 26. Next round, the setup 25, same kind of thing all the way down. And during those sets, I would feel great on the 26s, 25s, and even 24s. And then, it definitely hurts a little bit going to 23s at the end of the set. But it feels, I love those types of sets. They're very impactful, but they're relatively quick compared to, a larger main set. And
then
like
2 minutes, how much rest you're getting?
Yeah, they're on 1 minute. The 50s are on about 1 minute, and then the rest in between, like the 100 easy in between, probably on 3 minutes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that I think about what we're talking about now and what your like key takeaways were from 100 Free strategy from Worlds is that like it's tough in training, especially when you're progressing through a set like that, to be thinking about taking a little bit off. And so there's like a time to be thinking about like not thinking about like swimming it at 90% to 95%. Some of those times you kind of by the end of the set you got to be swimming it at 100%, right, in order to be able to develop. But that makes it harder when you get to a meet and you think that you need to be feeling the way that you were, at pushing back in 23 in practice, because those aren't going to be the same thing as you're finding out. And that's where I think it's really challenging to just dial in, especially at taper meets, how to nail like the right effort and technique and form. Because even like in the mid season, it's hard to have that sort of feeling. Like, and I'd imagine like for you coming up in this current season, and as you get through maybe the short course season, maybe there's some learnings that you can have throughout the World Cups on this too, but maybe more of a long course thing where you're trying to learn, okay, how can I feel out where that sweet spot is in season if you're still riding a little bit low in the water and aren't quite as fresh? I don't know. That's a tough thing to figure out, right?
Yeah, exactly. It really is. Like, that's why swimming is like a really hard sport. It's really hard to try to train that way. And then you only get, a minute to try it out in at a big meet, So it's, as you said, it's really throughout the season, you could be training really well and doing everything well, but then, in a race, you don't have that easy speed going out. You don't have that smooth kind of efficient stroke. And I've kind of learned that that's just part of it. That's just going to happen, because your body's not tuned up to race, and race at your best. So I know that's part of it. But yeah, it definitely gets in your head. A few weeks before, at training camp, we did a suit up day, and I suited up, did 100 free off the blocks, and like they had me at, I think 47.9 on a hand watch, but it felt like really bad, and I was really tired after. And for a few minutes after, I was I was talking to Noah and I said, all right, let's talk about this for, 15 minutes and then never like forget about it, so we talked about it for a few minutes and then I was like, he might say I was like panicking a bit and like about like how I feel in the water, like I didn't time up my turn well, all this stuff. And this is, maybe 10 to 12 days before competition. But then we dropped it and, day one of the meet, I felt pretty good and felt better throughout the meet. So I just know that's kind of part of the sport and the process leading up to bigger meets. So, but it definitely is very, very hard to train like that and compete like that in the season, and also try to find that kind of sweet spot at the end of the season at the big meet.
Jack, you're changing how our sports is perceived, and damn you made it a little bit boring to go 46 now. Like, oh, there's another 46, there's another 46, but Jack, he did it so many times that 46 is now is falsely seems easy. But you just said, I'm gonna go 45 now. And so, question from Tommy Johnson: did you know you're going 45 when you're coming into the wall in the relay?
No, definitely not. I really don't. I don't know what before that relay, I knew that we would be actually in a funny story first. So we had the prelim relay, and we were in the second heat out of 3. And Braden Holloway comes up to me and he says, "All right, we need you to go 100%, like, your best performance here on the prelim relay, because we don't know what the third heat's going to do."
Right.
So I said, okay, yeah, I got it. And I knew that even if we were winning the heat, we had to go faster to get a good time, like all that stuff. So I don't know. In my mind, I guess I thought I did 100% effort on that relay split, and I was 46.7, and I was really happy with that. I was like, oh, it's really good. During the race, I knew that we were going to be behind when I jumped in the water. And I knew there'd be a lot of waves and everything. So I didn't think I was going, 45. I didn't think I was going when I hit the wall. No, definitely not.
We saw you coming. We knew it was going crazy. But yeah, were you scared of the takeover? Were you scared of the walls coming off the wall? How did you manage all that? How do you manage diving in behind? How do you manage coming off that wall and chasing down the world's best? What was your mindset? You were just like, go.
Yeah. Well, the mindset when I was walking out, I was more intense than I have been in the past races in Singapore. But I was still walking out. Like, I was last, so I didn't have my cap and goggles on, and I was last, and I was walking on the pullback and taking the crowd and everything. And I kind of knew how the race was going to go. So I knew that I'd be coming from behind. And then I just tried to do, my mentality was that it was the last race of the meet. This is my 10th or 11th race, within 8 days. I'm just going to leave everything that I have out in the pool and, try to represent the USA team the best I can and try to do my best for the 3 guys before me. So that was my mentality. And then when I jumped in, there were a lot of waves, and the takeover was, I think I had a 0.05 reaction time, which I think is my fastest reaction time. And I actually thought there would have been a chance that I went a little early. I remember like that thought popped in my mind, but I knew that we were on the borderline of 3rd and 4th. So in my mind, I thought, okay, well, if I went early and we got 4th, that's
that's house money.
Yeah. And there were a lot of waves. 2 guys next to me, I forget which teams and who they were. But I remember my body just completely went to the side when I dove in the water.
Wow.
And got up to swim because the waves were all pushing me all over, and I was hugging the one side of the lane line. And I was catching the guy next to me throughout the first 50, and then we were kind of even throughout the whole next 50 meter or 35 meters of the race, and then the last kind of 15 meters, everything I had just add on there. And I was really tired after that one, but yeah.
I have 2 questions. One related to our conversation prior about race strategy. When you're anchoring a relay like that, are you thinking at all about still keeping it like somewhat relaxed at the beginning of that second 50 so that you can save for the last 15 meters, or in that relay moment, is that on your mind at all?
On the relays are a little different, I feel, just because the relay exchange, you have more momentum coming in the water, even with waves, so theoretically you should be able to go as fast on that first 50 with less energy. I don't think I was trying to conserve energy at all. I was trying to chase down the guy.
I was going to say, you said 21-2 relaxed.
Yeah, I know.
21-2 to my feet relaxed. I was going to be like, oh my God.
But also what's interesting, I was the same stroke count I was on the other 4 100s I did throughout the meet.
Okay.
Early. So I don't think I was trying to hold back at all, which is pretty cool, I guess, to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like the race was really came really down to the last couple meters there. And I didn't know my time at all for the next couple minutes after the race. And then we got interviewed by NBC, and they told me the time, and I was like, holy crap, that's pretty fast,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's pretty wild. The other thing I was thinking about is, did that medal feel like it was really big for the U.S. men? I mean, we were talking to Tommy about this and whether or not he and the backstroke crew were aware of the noise and around the performance of the men's teams. I was just wondering if it kind of felt like that to you guys.
Yeah, definitely was on my mind. Specifically that relay, because that being the last men's relay of the meet, there has been a lot of inconsistencies with, people throughout the meet and their health and how well they can perform and all that stuff. Yeah, and that race specifically, the coaches were trying to formulate, the best lineup basically throughout the whole meet, because they knew that some couldn't swim at times, and that would be morning of the race. They couldn't swim. So they knew that it would be a lot of changes as they were going. But yeah, I'm really glad with the order they decided for both the prelim and the final relay. Campbell did a great job in the morning, and then Josh got the nod over him for the evening relay. So yeah, I think there definitely was we knew about the talk that was going on. I knew that it would be great I knew that people were assuming that we'd miss the podium for this relay. Some were even saying we'd miss the final for the relay. So I knew all that stuff. I knew there was a lot of talk about that. And, the best thing, most of the people saying that stuff, they're swim fans. Some of them are former swimmers, and the people that have valid opinions are the people that have done it and know what it's like to be, in the arena under the lights, behind the block, racing against the world's fastest people. And I think it's just fuel to the fire for the next couple of years. People were saying that we had an underwhelming performance. The USA management's not doing well, all this stuff. And I don't agree with that. I think that this year has been, really good for USA Swimming. Yes, there are some changes and improvements that need to be made within the staff and some of the decisions that impact the athletes. But I think that we did a good job of coming out of an Olympic year, heading into a new Olympic cycle. And this one's more important because it's, in the US. So everyone that's listening, the swimmers and athletes are aware of what's, the narrative going on. And, for me, I just think it's fuel to the fire. If you guys, if people think, that we're not going to achieve some pretty great things in 3 years, then that's fine. Sure. They can keep thinking that. They don't see what goes on, 25 hours in the pool every week. So that's totally fine. But thanks for the motivation for me and the USA coaches and the other USA athletes.
Definitely. And that's how we see it. It's like, hey, fuel for the fire. Let's go. It's a post-Olympic year, and everyone here is sick, so we're excited to see what everyone can do. And I think back to that medley relay. With you being on that prelim relay, I was definitely questioning, and I was like, "Hey, Salmon's having a great meet. Let's save Jack. He's got a full schedule." But when we've seen the U.S. team now miss the A finals and Australia miss the A finals, and these historical great countries missing A finals with relays and prelims, it makes me question, are we past this era just because of the rest of the world getting so much faster, where we can save our vets or our elite swimmers for those final relays?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in some, I think it's like case by case kind of thing. We definitely could have put Patrick on that relay in the prelim, and that's what I initially thought they were going to do. But every swimmer that qualifies for a international competition to represent the team, they're there to swim and support the team, whenever they are asked to. So I had no problem, swimming that relay. I think there is a kind of shift, in the past couple of years between the world kind of catching up to the U.S. In the individual events, but also in the relays. Yeah. But yeah, I think everyone's just getting faster and faster. I remember I watched the third heat of that prelim relay, and yeah, as you said, a lot of notable teams didn't make the final. China, Australia. So it's you want to conserve and you want to conserve your best squad and your have the best race and finals, obviously, but you got to make it there first. So and that happened with individual swims, but also relay swims as well. So. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of noise in Paris about the pool, about the depth of the pool and how slow it was, right? And I was really excited to swim in the Singapore pools. And at Masters, we got to swim in 2 sets of pools. The pools you were in, and then on the other side of the stadium, there were the older pools there. And they were more traditional tile pools with a lot of markers and stuff, whereas the competition pool for you guys were the Merthyr pools. And people didn't like that. People didn't like the fact that it was just a sheet of white with the T, the 15, the 50, the 35, and the T. They didn't like that because they said that you didn't get this sense of speed, of moving over speed. I disagreed. I loved it. I love just the simplicity of the key markers in my race I like to race in. So I was very happy with it in the depth. And I was bitching to these guys because we didn't get the red blocks you guys got. They switched the blocks out, which is really annoying. And I really was looking forward to the red blocks. Talk to me about the pool, the equipment, the stuff. How much did you enjoy everything that World Aquatics put on, technical equipment-wise, and the deck and the environment there?
Well, first off, I can guarantee that if you had the red blocks there for your 53, it would have taken off at least 2 or 3 tenths.
Dude, we've been telling him every day.
5 seconds off that 53, Luke.
These diplomas would be dropped
medals 5 seconds.
Right now, medals.
Oh, the placebo.
Yeah. I don't know.
Got in his head. He should have been smiling more, Luke. You would have been all right.
I know.
He was waving to his fans. Give him a break, buddy.
I think, for the Paris pool, I think, I don't know, the people said the depth made a difference about, the swims and everything. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there was a lot of insanely fast swims in Paris. Exactly. Across the board. Yeah. So I don't think, if it's gonna affect one person, it's gonna affect everyone. So I don't think the depth has any impact on. I don't think that small of a difference in depth has an effect on how fast people went. Back to the question about the different pools and different kind of themes to the pool. I don't really have a preference as long as it's has some good blocks there, some flags, lane ropes, and a tee at the bottom of the pool. They could have some patterns on the pool decks or the different tiles. Like I don't think it makes a difference really to me. So I'm kind of indifferent.
Is there anything that anybody's talking about in swimming technology though that you're because I span the era of full to polyurethane, like bodysuits, textile bodysuits, to polyurethane, back to jammers, to the incorporation of the wedge and the backstroke wedge. And, so the sport evolves, but there hasn't been like a major innovation really in a while. And I'm curious if are is there anything, I mean, a lot of people talk about the format and bringing more attention to the sport via format, but I'm curious if there's like anything else on your radar or anybody that you're talking to regularly, or maybe not regularly, are there any cool ideas that you've heard of out there about like innovation, either in technique or in equipment or, anything that you just find interesting?
Honestly, not really, nothing new about like technology or anything in the sport. Like, as you said, it's kind of been a while since there's been a groundbreaking technology that's changed a specific race or a stroke. I know that like suit companies are coming out with, new suits kind of every couple of years, trying to get like the best, experiment with technologies and trying to get the best and most efficient suit. But that's kind of all I've heard about it, really.
Luke, you had something? Go.
Do you wish that? Have you ever considered training to put on like a J kit and see how fast you guys can do in practice?
I only thought about that because of the enhanced games and all that talk about Brett Hawk and all that thing.
He submitted a question. He wanted to know, would you do enhanced games?
Did he actually?
Yeah.
Yep, he did.
Yeah, it's on our page.
All right. No, I won't.
Okay. All right, I'll tell.
I was going to say this before you brought that up, but it would be cool if they open that up to legit like clean athletes and said, look, like we'll give you the Jankin suit and we'll drug test you every day of the competition or every day leading up to the competition and make sure you're clean. But yeah, here's the suit. There's $1 million check. Go break the world record.
That is what they're doing. That is.
I think they are. Saying that, yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Not the testing every day, but at least
they
athletes.
Yeah, the public statement came out and said it, and I've talked to Brett about this too. That like they want there to be it to be a choice whether you want to take enhancements or not, and like do you choose kind of your level? And they're saying that that's kind of the blocker, as I understand it. I'm not an expert on this either, but my understanding is that they kind of do want people who are talking about what you are. You're like, I don't know, I never got to swim in a J-Kid. Let me see what I could do. Like that'd be cool. So as I understand it, that is what they're trying to achieve. That's where like the lawsuit comes in. But anyway, it's like
a very like touchy subject,
totally.
So yeah, have not given it much thought at all.
All right. Well, what about I saw Cam put out something saying that he would love to see a 25 at World Short Courts. And then World Aquatics wrote back and said, we'll see what we can do on one of the Instagram. How would you feel for 25 free? And do you think that's good viewing for the audience?
I think so. I mean, I don't think it would hurt. I think it would be a cool event to have in there. And then you kind of get okay, well, is that 25 free or they're going to add the other strokes as well? So there's that thing as well. I don't think it would be a lot of fun. It's just one lap of the pool, but then, your margin of error goes down by a lot, so then you can't mess up anything now. And actually I talked to Cam after the 50 free in Singapore, and he talked to me about that a little bit. So I think that'd be really cool, to bring to the sport. So, yeah.
I do think for more of the sprint events, we need to get the camera angles figured out. During Worlds, a lot of them was like from the side, like going by the pool, and it was a lot of splashiness and hard to tell who was in front due to the angle. I'd love to see, I don't know, I think an aerial shot of the whole 50 would be great, or a 25.
Well, sometimes they do that in like the replay.
Yeah.
Have it in like there for like a couple seconds, but yeah, I think start to finish, that'd be a great camera angle to have. Cause like, as you said, it's a side angle of a 50 free. There can be a lot of splashes and a lot of waves going on. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I feel like, football season's about to start, and we've had this camera in the backfield for a few seasons now that I think is the coolest thing ever, to be able to sit and get the quarterback's view, or at least like barely above them. I prefer that view. I'd rather watch it the whole time. And so I'd love to see that for the 50 free, like literally behind the blocks live cam, not just the replay, but that'd be sick if it was like that. Or, they basically had, what do they call those things? Just like the sky cam that's like on cables. Yeah. That'd be so sick. Yeah. What were you going to say, Jay? Or no, it was Luke. You had one. Go ahead.
No, we had a couple more questions I thought was interesting. So one from Flicks by Dylan, who is a young photographer who worked with us. You might know Jack, as the Cal team. Yeah. So it's Hank Rivers, the undisputed GOAT. We need to understand what this means. What's the question?
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, Hank is definitely the undisputed GOAT. Yeah, he's a great guy, great teammate, and great swimmer. But yeah, we had a small roommate. We had some guys move out of the house here, and some guys move in. And Hank's one of the guys that moved in with my brother and some other guys on the team, Colby and Tommy. So yeah, Hank's the undisputed GOAT. Also, Dylan is a great photographer and a great guy. So yeah, shout out to Dylan.
Yeah, young talent. Yeah, he's great. He's great. Well, let's rip through a few more of these audience questions, and then we'll let you go, dude. This one, Nils Korstanji wanted to know who edits your reels. What's up with that?
Yeah, I'm working with a media company now. Nice. So they've been helping me out more on the Instagram side with some content and trying to boost that side of my career and get that going a little bit more. But yeah, I'm trying out new things. I'm kind of an introvert on behind the screen and everything. So it's definitely getting out there and putting some more posts out there is a little experimental and just trying new things. But
yeah. You got a GoPro now to take to practice? You gotta
Yeah, no. Not at that level yet, no, but maybe when Brooks gets back, he does that quite a bit, so we can do some fun stuff. But
there you go.
Yeah.
What's what else is on your radar for like this transition to full-time pro?
Yeah, I have a few events coming up, some speaking opportunities and some swim clinics coming up in the fall, kind of scheduled around the World Cup stops.
Yeah.
And then in December, it's kind of there's a few meet options I have on the radar. There's a meet in Australia that I might go to.
Nice.
The domestic, I think it's the Phillips 56 meet, their national meet for the U.S. team. But then outside of swimming, I think after December and January, I'll have this fall is kind of really busy with those couple events and World Cups going on. Then there's Thanksgiving and Christmas. So after January and the start of 2026, I'm going to try to see if I can find some sort of job here in the Bay Area or internship. I have a lot of close contacts with alumni here from the Cal team and just people I've met throughout, swimming and, my life that I've talked to, and they've been able to give me a lot of hope about doing opportunities outside of swimming that will not only, kind of distract me from swimming, but also distract me in a good way so I can work towards, a career when I stop swimming one day.
100%.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember Murph was talking about that, how much he leaned into that as all for the reasons that you just talked about. So obviously you got to get a lot of good resources in your corner to be able to pick their brain. A few things. What do you think about the U.S. picking the Pan Pac roster a year out? A lot of people have thoughts on whether this is a good or a bad thing, but what do you think?
I think you can make the argument that it's a good and a bad idea. It's tough because it's great that 2025 and the 2024-2025 season had a world championships to kind of build up to, and now this year it's Pan Pacs is the big meet to build up to, and I think the Pan Pac meet is definitely a lot less pressure and a lot less kind of it's just a smaller event, I feel. And I don't know the exact qualification standards for the Pan Pac team. But I know that, Greg Meehan, he knows what he's doing. I've been able to cross paths with Greg just because he was, just over at Stanford. So before he became the national team director, I saw him at OTC all the time. I saw him at meets, very friendly. And he, from my experience that I had in Singapore, he's a great leader, and he knows what the athletes need to perform best. So, I fully trust him in his process, and I trust that he's going to put the U.S. swimming team, on track for the best results, not only for, the near future, Pan Pacs next year. But building off of that, going to 2026 short course worlds in Beijing, then Budapest 2027, then ultimately LA 2028.
Yeah, Greg's the man. Shout out to Greg. I like him. I met him way back in the day on the WUG staff. Okay, why do we not have the World Championship though in that middle year? Like, if you had to pick, would you swap out and put a World Championship in that year instead of Pan Pacs, or do you like the fact that there's an off year?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna prepare for it as I normally would for if Pan Pacs was Worlds or vice versa. I would train and try to compete and represent Team USA as best as I can as part of my responsibility. But I think that maybe it was like I don't know if this is the actual case, but maybe I know that a lot of meets after COVID, they already had the contract set up for locations and dates for meets, and they're trying to just catch back up. So I don't know if they're still doing that with the Doha Worlds and the Singapore Worlds. So I don't know what it would look like there. But maybe
it's always been this way. They've always had like a gap year. And the thing is, like, I was just thinking about this, like, you lose with this format. Let's say you're the best swimmer in the world next year, right? Let's say you go the fastest time and you win the meet, but you don't get to call yourself world champion from that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why take that opportunity away? Because you know how marketable being a world champion or Olympic champion is. Trust me, that Olympic gold medal is going to take you very far, my friend. And so the fact that you've got that credential on there is a big deal. And I think it's so strange because every other sport has the best athlete. They at least have one culminating event every season where it's all the best people in the world. And for some reason, swimming doesn't have it. And I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't actually thought like too much about that and the structure of it. I think it's a really good opportunity to prepare. It'll be the best and most similar preparation that I'll have for LA, just because I'll be training in California for the months leading up to that. We'll have a pre-camp. Well, actually, I don't know if I'll have a pre-camp, but in the weeks leading up to the meet, I'll have like a mock pre-camp wherever that is here, or if they have a location for the team, that'd be great. But you have that pre-camp process, moving as a team, and then you go to Southern California and go race. Mm-hmm. So it's very very similar to what LA is going to be like, but it's a lot less pressure. So I'm kind of using it as a trial run, but I'm going to go there and represent as best as I can and do my best.
Oh yeah, always. All right. We did have somebody who wanted to ask, this is from Zan, the swim man, wanted to know, empty pool, no waves. Are you hitting that 100 free world record?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. The 46.4 is crazy fast. When I was racing, well, in Paris, I couldn't see Pan. I don't know how fast he was going.
Fast.
Yeah, and then
I'll tell you.
And I was right next to David this past year in Singapore, and I thought either he was going super fast or I was going like pretty slow, because he was, on that second 50 there was a time that he was more than like half a body length ahead of me, and I was kind of like, oh crap, like but that time like 46.4, 46.5, those times are insane. I'm really excited. I think it's just cool that for years, no one's been able to touch 46. And then now 46 high, 46 mids, kind of like the podium standard, which I think is very cool. It kind of shows the progression and the sport getting faster and faster and more competitive, which is, it's definitely nerve-wracking at times, but it's motivating. It's fun, it's exciting, and I think it's more fun to watch too. So I think it is very good for our sport, and it's just cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so you got your eyes set on the Chalmers world record coming up, or what are we looking at?
Yeah. For now, I'll use it as some motivation, and I don't know if he's going to be there or not, but that'll be super fun if he's there and if he could race head-to-head short course meters. But yeah, my first time racing short course meters was in Budapest, and that was super fun meet. And I love racing it, so yeah, the record's definitely on the radar.
Yeah, I hope we'll be there. I don't know. It looks like he's got a baby on the way here pretty soon, so I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. I hope you go get it, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Good to chat with you, Jack, as always. Yeah. We love anytime we're at a meet, we get to say hey to your folks. They're always good people too, so say hey to them for us as well, man.
They're having the most fun in the building, so they're enjoying it.
Hell yeah.
They're having the most fun up until about 3.5 minutes before my race, and then they get
right. That's right. And then anxiety sets in more than you could ever experience as a swimmer. I guarantee.
Yeah, they had a lot of camera time at Worlds. I
know.
Yeah,
your dad's up there. He's like, oh.
I know. He's all slicked back, got the haircut going, and yeah, they're just enjoying it. They love being a part of. They love traveling and being able to support me and everything, and yeah, they're the best. So it's been really great.
Awesome.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot, man. That's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming, and we'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time.